Administration, the Honorable Randy Babbitt. Randy has a pretty easy job, really. All he has to do is provide the safest and most efficient aviation system in the world. And what does that mean in terms of activity? Well, last year, U.S. air carriers delivered 712 million passengers to their destination. In terms of tower operations, we're talking over 51 million arrivals and departures. And carrying out that challenging task, Randy is responsible for managing a budget of about $16 billion and more than 48,000 employees. His watchwords in leading the organization have been safety and professionalism. Pretty powerful combination. Randy began his aviation career as a pilot, flying 25 years for Eastern Airlines. He later served as president and CEO for US ALPA, the world's largest organization of airline pilots. Today, through his leadership, he is helping the FAA to transform the way we operate in the national airspace system through the implementation of NextGen, a program that will move us from a ground-based system of air traffic control to one based on satellites, a system that will enhance safety and reduce aviation congestion. He's also been a strong supporter of our efforts in commercial space transportation. Now, Randy told me yesterday that when it comes to flying aerospace vehicles, he has pretty much done everything except go to space. So I assured him that if he hangs around with this crowd, we could probably help him out with that. Please help me welcome the FAA Administrator, Randy Babbitt.
Thank you very much, and wow, what a great audience this morning. I'm absolutely flattered to be here and to be able to address such a collection of professionals and aviation and space enthusiasts. And George, you're right, my job is fairly easy and relaxing. Those of you who had a chance to watch me be relaxed for 2 hours in front of a congressional subcommittee yesterday, how much fun that can be. I think there's some people in that crowd that would, in fact, like to see me have that trip to space. They just wouldn't bring me back. That's the problem. But, anyway, it is a pleasure to be here. And for those of you who might have been with us last year, you'll remember that this conference began on the apex of what came to be known as Snowmageddon. I think there was about 22 inches of snow fell that day. Making it, despite the very smooth snow removal processes that exist in this city, laugh sign, I was unable to make it in on that day, and so I delivered my speech over the telephone from my kitchen, and that was George said I never looked better. I was in my best pajamas, so I'm sure. Commercial space, though, focusing on why we're here today, with no pun intended, commercial space is truly looking up. At the State of the Union, and George gave you one quote, I want to give you another. Our president told us to dream big and to build big. And those are strong statements. Here we are. And I see a direct connection to what he said last April. And it's what brings us here today. And I want to give you a quote from the president. Quote, "Our goal is the capacity for people to work, learn, and operate and live safely beyond the Earth for extended periods of time, ultimately in ways that are more sustainable and even indefinite. And in fulfilling this task, we not only will extend humanity's reach into space, we will strengthen America's leadership here on Earth." End of quote. Well, the successes that we have seen in the year 2010 certainly have that excitation well in hand. Last year, there were, in fact, 4 commercial space license launches, bringing the overall total to 200 plus now. This has been done without any fatalities, serious injuries, or property damage to the public. We issued a launch site operator license to Cecil Field in Jacksonville, giving America its 8th spaceport. We issued spaceport grants for the first time to New Mexico Spaceport Authority, to the Alaska Aerospace Corporation, to the Jacksonville Aviation Authority, and to the East Kern Airport District. You know, when we look around in time, it seems like just yesterday. Well, actually, I think it was April 12th, 2007 to be exact, that someone named Bigelow was telling the Washington Post that he had plans to send a series of inflatable space stations up into orbit within the next decade. Doesn't seem like that long ago that statement was made. Well, if you've come to this conference looking for an endorsement from the Federal Aviation Administration, you got the right address. I am 100% behind our commercial space endeavor. It's part of our future vision. George talked about next gen. We have a lot of things that are going to change the way we travel, and whether that is in low Earth orbit, around the world, on our airports, how we communicate, navigate, and surveil our airplanes will all change in the next decade. And we also know that as we move forward with next gen, and commercial space is definitely part of that vision, part of that transition. I think it's very clear that there is a market for the upper crust of our atmosphere, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that business not only wants to be there, business will in fact thrive there. And with that said, and I think we have to recognize that commercial aviation, as we know it today, has set the bar very, very high. The expectation today of the traveling public, the flying public, is that the safety record that we have today must remain unfailingly consistent and extraordinarily strong. They've come to accept that. They have come to expect that every airplane they get on will be well maintained, the crew will be well trained, the operation will be flawless, and it doesn't happen by accident. If you follow the numbers at all, you will know and understand that commercial aviation requires 99 point and a long string of nines of error-free performance. And that's where commercial space should want to live and stay. If your project doesn't have the word safety at the top of its list, I can tell you from my experience in the commercial aviation sector, you won't be successful. And for that matter, I don't think you'll be in business very long. But I'm confident that safety has a permanent seat at commercial space's table. My hope for all of us is that we will be able to make the difficult become routine. The commercial space launches that we have now, I think we all accept. They're intricate interplays that involve a lot of people. They require a lot of intricate moves from commercial aviation world, from air traffic, in consultation with the military. All of this has to be orchestrated. Well, in short, everything stops in order to accommodate a commercial space launch today. Well, as this industry emerges from these early steps and moves forward, we're aiming for something that'll be as routine as taking a shuttle from here to New York. Remember, they go starting at 6:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night, every 30 minutes, every day of the week in and week out, quite routine. Ultimately, I think that's where we're going to wind up with commercial space. It's a long ways down the road, but I think it's very much doable. The brain power and the perseverance that have become the foundation of this industry are proof, clear proof, that where there's an idea, there's always somebody around in this group willing to make it happen. And our approach at the FAA is to create regulations that promote safety without becoming a hurdle between you and what this industry can and will become. I think George summed it up very nicely in how we want to facilitate those transitions. Our approach, will take us in that section and be doing that in cooperation with the industry. The retirement of the shuttle, which is coming soon, will require that commercial space take over the responsibility for what is a very long queue of customers that have very large packages to deliver in a variety of situations. The FAA is solidifying its relationships, not only with the Air Force, but with NASA, to make certain that that transition happens and happens seamlessly. Charlie Bolden and I are absolutely in lockstep when it comes to making sure that we see and recognize the commercial that exists, or the potential that exists for commercial space. The standard that we have set for George Nild and the Office of Commercial Space is for all of the FAA lines of business that you deal with to be fair, that we be reasonable, and that we listen. And that's important. When it comes to licensing, and regulation, and inspection, and availability of airspace, we want to be enablers, the people who help you make it happen, and help you make it happen safely. Our aviation system has a track record of safety that's become an international model respected all over the world. We want and fully expect that our commercial space activities will develop an identical reputation. This will be the place that people come and say, how did you do it here? How did commercial space develop with the safety record that you have in the United States? That's the reputation we have with the FAA today. It's the reputation that I expect you will develop. In aviation, the airlines and their pilots, their mechanics, the inspectors, the technicians, controllers have all seen increasingly the benefit that comes from working together and sharing information, pushing in tandem for success. But we intend with commercial space to use precisely that same approach. All I'm asking for you to remember is that the predicate for success must be safety. And I have all the confidence in the world that even 62 miles up, that you'll agree with that. Thank you very much.